Okay, we're going to do a low-key lighting scenario. Low-key meaning a darker picture. Very much like the other lighting setup I had showed you with the gray backdrop, but a few minor changes. Specifically, I'm going to show you a little more variation on the pose. But if you come over here, I'll show you the light. We are now using a much smaller softbox. And the reason I'm using a smaller softbox is because I want to control the light a lot more. And this softbox is about 3 feet by 2 feet, and again it came from Alien B, same company that I got the other light from. So, the light itself is in a smaller source, so when it comes off and falls off Danielle's face here, it's not spilling so much on the background, and it's not going to affect the rest of the picture. I want to control the lighting a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my reflector. Remember we talked about the reflector. The reflector comes down into her face. I'm going to work with this general pose here. This is what the basic pose is for a full length. Poor Danielle's got no shoes, but she's a barefoot popper here. But we're going to work with that look anyways. We didn't worry about the shoes because I wanted to show you the actual pose, the stance. You can see how she's standing. Her left foot is pointed out, and she's relaxed. All her weight is on her right foot. Her body is turned away from the main light, and her head is going to be turned in this way. Danielle, turn your head that way, but good. Her head is going to be turned into the main light. Now, the kind of lighting we're after is that we want it, this is called short lighting or narrow lighting. The lighting is affecting the side away from the camera. Okay, so the side facing the camera is going to be in shadow. This creates a very nice sculpting effect. The opposite to that is what's called broad lighting. If you turn your head this way, Danielle, good. Look over here. Turn your head a little more. If the light comes in and affects the side that's facing the camera, that's called broad lighting. Typically that widens out the face of people who are skinnier. If you turn your head this way, with narrow lighting, it narrows the face. And if you have a larger face, it makes it look narrower. So it has different effects for different people depending on what you want to do. Somebody with a larger face, you want to narrow it. Somebody with a skinny face, you want to fatten it. However, I prefer narrow lighting all the time, so it's what I work with all the time. I find it's a very pleasing, very effective lighting. So it carves out and creates a nice shadowing effect right here. So turn your head a little more, sweetie. Got it, girl. Okay, so I'm going to add a few more things back here. She's standing, and her shoulders are relaxed, and her hand is across the top of our nice antique chair here. And if you can just kind of lean away, and just kind of like this here, see? Atta girl, good. Just relax that arm. And I'm going to throw in a couple of props back here. It's a very classic look what we're after. You can tell my table has seen better days. But I did pick that table up at a very, very cheap price because it was all busted up on two of the sides, but I only need one good side. So we're setting up some different props here, and you can get a lot of these things at craft shops and various other stores. And they work really, really well. Okay, we got our fill light. Again, it's very similar to what I was doing earlier. And I want to make sure that the light is coming off, going back into the area that I want it to fill. And then, of course, we have our reflector, which is going to reflect back up into her face. I'm always checking to make sure the light is coming off the reflector. Very, very important. Should never leave that to guesswork. Sometimes you have to bring it out a little more in order for it to work. And there's the hair light. Gently turn your head this way. Can you peek to the camera, sweetie? That a girl. That's nice. Can you look this way? Turn your head some more. That a girl. Don't move. See my hand? Good. Hold still. A little smile would be nice. Just a little. That a girl. Hold that. So that's a very classic lighting scenario. For a low key, it works exceptionally well. I'm just going to change this a little bit. I want you to turn your head that way. Just your head. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Where your nose is pointing is where I want your eyes to point. Turn your head some more. A little more. Good. We're almost in the full profile here. The problem with this is the main light has not moved. She's moved, but the main light has not moved. So this is going to create a very undesirable light, especially for a low-key situation. We want to get a very dramatic kind of light going. So it's important to control your main light in such a case when the subject moves their head. So I've got the light coming beyond 90 degrees from Danielle, from the camera angle. And I've got it coming off, affecting her side of the face that is on the opposite side of the camera. The side to the camera is in the fill zone. I'm going to take a few shots like that, and I'm going to show you exactly what we're talking about. Okay, that's really nice, except now we're losing our fill. So I'm going to get a little more fill in there. I have to come in, I have to check, make sure the fill's working. Because I changed the main light, this has got to be adjusted, the fill's got to be adjusted, and everything's working a little bit differently. It's really nice. And a little bit of a smile then. Just that a girl. Good. She's an excellent model. Okay, so that's just a couple variations on a low-key situation. If I wanted to, I could come in a background, and I could kick in a little bit of light with a background light, which sometimes adds a little more punch. It's totally up to you. And let me take one just like that right now. And depends what you want. So, smaller light source, low-key situation, control the light a little bit more. The bigger softbox will work as well, but that's just the way I do it. Of course, experiment, use your own imagination, and work with what works for you. Thank you.
Again, here's the image as it came off the camera. It's kind of flat and dull looking, and it's properly exposed, and got a good custom white balance. And here it is, a little bit workflowed. You can see with the softening effect how it looks ultimately, and how I want it to look for my clients, and how it's going to hang on her wall. And here's the same setup where I actually brought the light over a little bit more, and I had her look off almost to a full profile, but I can still see both sides of her cheeks, and you can see the light falling off her right cheek. There's like a triangulation on her right cheek on the shadow side. Very classic effect called a Rembrandt effect. You can bring the light over a little bit more and increase that effect a little bit more. And here I'm showing you different variations on the same image, black and white color, and a mix of sepia and black and white in this particular image right here. So again, you can modify these lighting situations a little bit more and have fun with them. And if I wanted to do a full profile, I'd bring that main light even over some more and have her turn into a full profile so that her left side, her left eye, doesn't show at all. So here it is again with the backlight. I increased the background lighting by spilling a little bit of the backlight onto the background in this particular case here. You can do that if you want. The first images look fine to me, but it's personal taste at this point in time. Whether or not you want the background to really jump out, you just do it with lighting. So there's your classic basic setup for really nice lighting in a classic style.